everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and today I have a fun YouTube hop using the telephone game from the Secret Not Secret Kit Club. And this is the layout that I got from Shannon, and I'll explain a little bit more about the YouTube hop in just a second, but I wanted to tell you guys about the paper. I have this Simple Stories Simple Vintage Traveler collection, and I have the paper pad or paper collection, I guess, the stickers, and then I also was able to get what is this called here? The snap cards. So I have some 4x6 and 3x4 cards. I also have the frames, even though I don't end up getting to use them, and the stamp. So I took inspiration from Shannon's sketch to create this layout, and the really fun thing about this layout is that we started with a sketch or an inspiration piece, and I am next to last. There are 7 of us total in this YouTube hop, so I'm the 6th person. So Sandy is the one that started our team, and she created a layout based on whatever she wanted, in whatever inspiration piece she wanted, whether she used a sketch or not, and went from there. And if you can remember back when we were kids, when we played the telephone game, you would whisper something in somebody's ear, and then it would go down the line, and then you would see all of the funny responses at the end as to what people thought was originally said. So the inspiration that I took from Shannon's layout was the background pieces. I used the 3 main pieces of paper. I did tear them just like she did. And then I also used some inspiration with her photo itself. Her photo is from Chicago, and it's Rooftop View is her title. So I thought, well, why don't I use pictures from Chicago as well? And I took the photos from, this is a photo from our room. And then on the left side of the layout, I'm going to do 2 pictures of the view from our room. So my title is going to be Room with a View. So it kind of goes along with hers. And I think that I follow her inspiration piece quite a bit. And I'm really excited about that. So this is where I pull out my Distress ink in Weathered Wood, which is like a really light gray color. And I love this color to add a little bit of inspiration piece. I did feel like my photo was getting a little lost with all of those background pieces. So I decided to use this paper pad, and I used the pink paper pad and this gray color. This is Art C cardstock. I will see if I can find it at scrapbook.com so I can post it below for you guys. I picked it up at Hobby Lobby simply because it is a lot of lined paper, and I thought that it would be a perfect addition to my 6x6 paper pads because I can use that as backgrounds, I could use it to mount my photos, or I can use it to as journaling pieces. So I really thought that that was a perfect little 6x6 paper pad. So I used that in that pink, for that pink piece of paper, and then also for to mount my photos. So now that I have everything down, I did end up using a 4x6 or 4x4 cut apart, and I tore that edge as well to give it a little bit more dimension in that paper. So I'm going to add my photo down. I did add it down with the fun foam, of course, using my T-square ruler, and I picked this up at Amazon, which I will link below as well. And then this is where I'm going to start working on the left side of the layout. And I really wanted to pull in the layered pieces as well as the torn edges to the left side and mimic that. And what I end up doing is using this paper here. This is what's very interesting about this paper pad is I feel like a majority of the papers in this paper collection are very muted. So there's that light blue and lots of creams and the like minty green. And then you've got these one papers like this one here that has like really dark, rich colors in it. So I'm not sure how that fits together. It's a very different collection, that's definitely for sure. So I find it very interesting to use that. So I did use this piece, but I end up covering up most of that dark part of the paper with my photos, just simply because I didn't feel like it went well with the collection. Sometimes I wonder what the designers were thinking when they put pieces together. So I'm laying all this down, and so I have the 3 pieces there and 3 pieces of paper. And as I was putting my paper down, I realized that the back of that last piece that I put down had some geotags in it, and from where I ripped it, I really liked the way that looked. So I went ahead and added those. And I'm going to go ahead and mount my photos on the same paper that I mounted it on the right hand side. I do end up, the paper is 6x6, so I do end up just trimming off like 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 inch on each side, just to make sure that they fit. And I don't feel like I lost anything in that, cutting that piece out. So these are some gorgeous photos of the view from our room. We were really high up in the hotel. I think we were like on the 21st floor. So I loved the view of the buildings and the skyscrapers and things like that from Chicago that we were able to see from our room. So I did go ahead and mount fun foam on the back of both of these photos and add them to the layout as well. And once I get both of those down, I'm going to start working on the embellishments of this layout. And when I bring this left side back to the right side, I wasn't 100% loving it, but I was just going with it at this point, and I started working on my title. So I really liked this view that is on the sticker sheet. It is a map, and so I loved that map texture or feel that it brings in. And so I pull out some of my other letter stickers to use with this. And these are just some random letter stickers that I've had with other collections. They were 12 by 12, and I go ahead and cut them down to usually like 12 by 6, just because the other side is either another set of alphas or it's a set of like other types of stickers. So I put those in my sticker book and my embellishment book, and then I use the I keep my alphas with my alphas. And then I use these little tile stickers in this minty green color for part of my tile. So the room is in that cream color, and then I have the tile stickers, and then I have that view with the map sticker. So I pull out this Heidi Swap book, and I'm using this to add some of the elements that Shannon had in her sketch or in her inspiration piece. And the stickers say a trip to remember, places to go, and things to see with my favorite people. So I felt like those were great things to add because this was definitely an amazing trip. We got to see my two of my nephews that live in Illinois, and then we got to see lots of fun sightseeing things in Chicago. Adding this little paper airplane, well, I guess it's not really a paper airplane. It's like a little triangle that has 2 different colors, a white and a cream color. It kind of looks like a plane, like a paper airplane. And then I'm looking at the sticker sheets as well, and I see this sticker here that says, "Let's travel the world together." And I did go ahead and end up tearing the sides of it just to add that type of texture to this embellishment cluster as well. So I went ahead and added this sticker, and I put it up on fun foam, but then I didn't like the way that it looked. I really wanted it to be tucked underneath that sticker. So I removed the fun foam and added it behind that long strip. And then I'm going to add this camera because obviously we are traveling and sightseeing, so a camera fits perfectly. And a little geotag right at the top there above my title. So I decided to go ahead and use the ephemera pieces that I got with this kit as well. And I'm using this. I love the fact that Simple Stories put these embellishment pieces in there that were already clustered together. So it helps with building your clusters upon that, because I feel like some of the background clusters are all together. So this piece here that I'm putting ink on has a hot air balloon, and then like 3 or 4 different pieces of paper lined up behind it or printed on it. So it makes a perfect starter. Then I went ahead and added a piece of luggage, a little suitcase there. And I added that fun foam right underneath the photo because there was already fun foam behind the photo. So I decided that it would be easier just to go ahead and add the fun foam behind the photo and then have it stick out a little bit and put the luggage piece on top of it. And then I put this view because I loved that view. That was probably my favorite view of, there's another hotel that had a little pool and a deck and everything next to ours. And so that was a really nice view from our room. So this is where I pull out that circle piece that says explore and discover your world. And I add that to the top here with this other flat piece that looks kind of like a luggage tag or a tag that you would have when you're traveling. And I add that to the top there. And then I'm trying to make this piece work. It's a little tag here, and it has a faux staple in it that is stapling it looks like a ticket that was stapled on. So I'm adding that with a little bit of liquid adhesive onto that chipboard piece on top of it, and then a small little geotag on top of that. So I'm really liking the way that this layout is coming together. I'm just looking through my pieces to see if there's anything else that I can add. And I do end up adding a little banner piece right there. It's a chipboard banner piece. I picked up this embellishment pack that I'm working on right now from Tuesday Morning. I believe it's from Project Life. I will see if I can find it linked at scrapbook.com so I can link it below for you guys. I add this heart in this pink color. I'm really liking the peach or like really light pink color in this paper pad because it's girly but not overly girly. And since I was the only girl in this trip that we went on, I felt like the other colors in here, the blues and the mint greens and things like that, were more masculine. And then it just had just a little bit of touch of feminine to it. And that's kind of, just a little bit of touch with me in it. So I'm going through my embellishment book to see if I can find anything else. And I add a couple of enamel hearts. This embellishment book you can find on my channel, and I'll show you guys how I put that together and link it together. That idea came from Janet from RTS Scrapbooking. So I will link that video below if you guys want to check out how I have my embellishment book. So this is where I'm just adding a few additional pieces, and I sat with this layout for several days, and I just didn't like this huge white space that was it was in the middle of the layout, and it was just really bothering me. And at first I was like, I'm just gonna leave it, it's fine. But then when I went to do the voiceover for this video, I was like, I just don't like the way that turned out, and I can't post something that I'm not 100% in love with. So this is probably the first and only and last time, because oh my goodness, I had so much trouble getting all this paper off. And I would have just like foregone all of it and just cut it and started with a brand new piece of paper, but I only had this one sheet of paper. So I had to, for the background, so I had to make it work. And it took a long time. So this video is super long because I have this extra piece. Really, I would have been done a couple moments ago with the layout. So I have this extra piece here, and I cut out a significant amount of time of trying to cut or pull up this paper because there was a lot of not great words used as I was pulling this up. But the end result of this layout is 100 times better, and I love, love, love the way that it turned out. So what I'm doing now is I have this white piece of cardstock, and I'm trying to distress it because it was so stark white. So I did use the weathered wood to add a little bit of distressing to it, but I don't like it, and it ends up being gone anyway. So what I'm doing is kind of piecing it back together. I took the piece that was on the right hand side, I cut it down the center, and then I went ahead and added it back to the left. And I'm going to cover up all of those pieces where the paper tore with my photos and my embellishments. So I did try to keep some of my clusters together as much as I could so that I wouldn't have to refigure it out, because I really like the way the clusters look. So this piece here, you can see that it is already together with the luggage piece, as well as the word "this view" and that background piece and the tag in the little banner piece in the wood. So I am doing a lot of adhering with my ATG just because I pulled it up, and so there's lots of curdling in the paper. I do not recommend this in any way, shape, or form, but it was a necessity for this layout. I am trying to get the ATG off. ATG does rub off pretty easily if you just use your finger and rub off a little piece. But there was so much left on the paper itself. So I did end up having to move that picture up just a little bit because it was touching the other photo too much, and I didn't like the way that it looked. So this is the start of where it's starting to come back together. And so I did have to move that embellishment that was on the right hand side over to the left, and I just added that back on. I added this embellishment piece, or the embellishment cluster that's right on the layout now, was in the upper right hand side, and now it's down here in the lower left. And I put a fun foam or a pop dot up. I went to pull it up, and the sticker came away from itself, so it's a really thin sticker now, but I put it right there on that pop dot and made it work. So after I get all of that down, this is where I'm starting to add some of the paper. And while I ripped a piece of it and I was going to put it down with liquid adhesive, I really liked the way that it looked when I pulled it up a little bit. So I went ahead and just tore it a little bit more to add that extra geotag, and it brings in the geotag that's now in the center of the paper that was originally down at the end. So you can see there that I am just adding liquid adhesive all over to this layout, making sure that all of the edges are down like they need to be. And if I have to take it up again, it's not coming up this time, because there is lots and lots of liquid adhesive, and liquid adhesive does does stick a little bit more than anything else. So this is where I had purchased the paper pad and the stickers from my little scrapbook store, which I'll link them below. They have tons of great products there. And then right after I had purchased it, I saw the Peachy Cheap deal with the frames, the snap cards, and the stamps. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. So I went ahead and picked that up. And so that's what I'm using now. The stamp is a perfect add-on to this, because there were pieces that were tearing or looking a little weathered. So I added that stamp to it, and it made it look even better. So I have this frame set here, which I don't end up using any of them because they just didn't work with the layout, but I love all the frames. It has lots of fun little clusters in there for you. This is where I end up taking up the white paper that I put down, because I felt like it was too stark of a color. Even with the distress ink on it, it just didn't work. So I went ahead and ripped it up right along the cream color that's there, or the light white. And I used this 4x6 card, and I just went ahead and adhered it to the back so that you can see that piece sticking up behind my layout. And that turned out so much better than the white. I think that it just looked a lot better. So you have just a little bit of the color peeking out. And all I did was use my mat to make sure that it was 12 by 12 and lined it up that way. And what I'm going to end up doing is put washi tape on the back to make sure that it stays and is adhered well. And then that washi tape actually came with the kit that I bought, but it was like a dark color and it just didn't feel like it went with the photos or with the paper. So I probably won't be using that on the front of my, or with this kit at all. So what I'm doing now is building a cluster here in the center because I needed to cover up that small little line there that was created by piecing these two pieces together. So I pulled out the 2x2 cards and I went ahead and tore a little piece of it. This has some polka dots and that pink color and then a camera that's just like the camera on the right hand side of this layout. And so I tore that to add some of the texture to it. And then I liked the back of it. It's that orangey color. So I went ahead and just added the piece that I tore to behind it so that you could see that as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some more stamping. There's the Sky's the Limit that I added right next to that geotag because there's definitely lots of skies. You can see lots of big skyscrapers in this picture. So I'm pulling out my embellishment book one more time just to see if I can find anything else to add to this cluster here. And I find another little pink ticket. It is a little bit different color of a pink than the rest of the pink in this layout, but I think that it works just because there's a tiny bit of it sticking out. And so I really like the way that looks. And I had added a couple of stickers, an arrow sticker to this layout. So I went ahead and added an enamel arrow as well. And now I am coming to the end of this layout, finally. So I want to encourage you guys to start with Sandy's video, and I will link it below, where you can see her original inspiration, and then hop on over to Laura, Kelsey, Rachel, and Shannon's, and then me for today. And then tomorrow, Karen will be on for the final layout, and so you will be able to see a progression of where we started with Sandy's layout and where we ended up with Karen's layout, and how different it is and how much fun this telephone hop can really be. So here is my final layout, as well as some close-ups. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. I would love to also hear your comments, so feel free to leave those below. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layouts, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.